Hello everyone. Good morning. So we don't have much time today, so I'll just get to building. So this is the third episode while we are building the SQL portal, which is the this PR. And after the last stream, I did some UI cleanup and added some fixes. So for example, it shows pass and disables the input when the student passes. It correctly handles the exceptions if there are any in the SQL. And see, this is the current state. I also did some code cleanup in the view side. So now if you see the SQL portal.view file, this was the only file we had. I extracted out SQL problem, right? Just one component, and this is a lot cleaner because all of the state of submission logic and confetti and everything went inside this component, right? So if I check SQL problem now, you will see it manages its own state. So we don't have to manage the list, right? That we were managing before. It also, I wrote some APIs to get the solution status so I can disable the problem control, etc. Then submit solution, confetti position. So all of this was in the portal. Now it is encapsulated nicely in this problem. Now the portal just I also cleaned it up. So now it watches if the problems in this set changes, it will fetch all the problem statement and name and then just v for. So cleaned up. I did one more thing. I cleaned up this SQL problem solution file. So it was one huge check, right? If you recall. So everything was happening inside the. So I renamed this. This was, I think, check solution. And now if you see, it is much more in cap, what do you say, broken down into smaller functions. So it sets the problem data, sets the correct output. We get the DB cursor, right? And we check, run the student query. And if something goes wrong, we give the feedback with the error message that we got back from SQLite. And then this nice if statement, uh, match the column count, match the row count, match the data. This was, we implemented it in first episode of this series, but now it is much more readable, right? Anybody can come here and see at a high level what is happening. And then if they want to dig deeper onto how we do the data matching, they can come here and just start reading from here. And this all returned true false. I also even created a, so this was repetitive for both the student and the correct output. So I created a function out of it. So if you are doing it something twice, it means can be extracted out, right, as a function. So if you see column count match, this is now much more readable. So we get the num columns for student using the student output, num columns of correct using the correct output. So single function, and then we just match it. So this is the cleanup. Uh, why I'm doing this episode is I want to write unit tests, right? Because this, I can't be doing regression testing while I refactor, and becomes quite a lot. So since I was going to write unit test, why not do it live? And we don't have much time. We have till 12:30. I have a meeting, and let's start. I don't know if anybody is here. Let me go to Discord. Writing some unit tests. Come join me. So hopefully someone shows up. Okay. So where do we start, right? Let's just check the UI. Oh, Danny, how are you? So I was checking. What was I checking? Yeah. lms.localhost port 80. So our FrappeUI app assignment portals. Nice. So this is the current state. So what do we want to test? I want to test the logic where it checks, right? Whether the query is correct or incorrect. So first of all, we want to do write a test. So I have opened the test underscore whatever doc type name.py file. Here we'll write our tests. So this is very close to Python unit test class, but it inherits from it. So it has some additional functionality like auto rollback, etc. So let's check the code. So we want to test all these three cases. 3 plus 4 if there is an error. So this 4 cases we have to test. So let's write stubs for them. Test correct match, test incorrect mm, column mismatch, right? So this is one of the tests we will write. Other is test incorrect row mismatch. So usually this is how you write unit test, right? You test each branch if you want it to be exhaustive, right? You want to test every major possible path, or you can call it branch. So the other one is test incorrect data mismatch. So incorrect we can remove, I guess. To test column mismatch, test row mismatch, test data mismatch, test. I implemented one more feature that I want to test is that they should not be able to drop table, right? They should not be able to run such a query that modifies the database, and then whoever submits next gets an error that there is no. So I was able to do it before, but I implemented. If you check get DB cursor, right? I have even linked the docs where I found it. So I'm opening the database in a read-only mode. So that too we will test. So what was the fourth thing? Test uh, SQL error, query error, and then the other test will be test um, write prevents write queries self. Okay, nice. So one test, two, three, four, five. I think this will be sufficient for getting to merge this PR. So we'll start with the column mismatch, right? So for this, we need to set up some test stuff, right? Which we can run our tests against. So we need to create a problem set and then one problem, right? Test p set, I will call it frappe.new. So I will import frappe.new doc, SQL problem set, and what should we do? Test p set dot. We can do it in one line as well. But the thing is, we will need a data set, right? How will we do this from UI? If you think about it, lms.localhost 8000 slash app. When I go to create a problem set, right? I need the name. So test pset dot name will be pset0. It is fine. Introduction is non-mandatory, so I will leave it. Data set is mandatory, right? So we need some test database which we can create, and I will put it inside our some directory which we can access, right? Where should we put it? Inside our app. In the public, okay, if I put it in public, anybody will be able to access it. So I will create a new directory here, right? Next to the API, I will say tests or test should we do? test, what should I call it? Usually, what do they call it? I'm fine, I will just drop it in this directory and not create a subfolder. That also works. But we need to prepare that test data set, right? So let's do that. So if I want to prepare that, I will go to my playground, right? mkdir SQL uh, portal cd SQL portal. And here I will prepare the SQLite database. App, come on, what are you doing? App.py, and I will import SQLite 3. And here's what I will do. chat.openai.com. So, okay, I have to log in. How did I get logged out? So, LLMs are great at this, right? Boring code that generates some fake data. I have been using this just for that. Even for Zenith Craft, I generated CSVs, etc., fake customer data, fake supplier data, all of from ChatGPT. Come on, let me log in. Okay, it's not working. So let's do it ourselves, maybe. Test.db connection.cursor cursor equal to cursor dot execute create table test table, how we can call it, test table with I think we can do just 2 columns, id int name varchar 255. We can do one more. Fine. Primary key. Then we want to cursor dot execute insert into test table values, and let's enter 1 comma John, 2 comma Jacob, 3 comma Jenny. Oh, all start with J. Let's do Bob and Xenia. Z. Okay. What else? I think this will be sufficient for the test DB. So I will execute this file. Execute run file in terminal. So this created a test DB if you see here. I will just reveal in Finder, and I will do one more thing. I'll bring VS Code. Where is VS Code? Yeah, here. Then move this test DB here. Cool. Go back, and I will place this correctly in here. Yeah, test.db correctly. So now how do I get the path to this? So let's check. Bench dash dash site lms.localhost console. So frappe.get app path Yeah, so this will, you give it the app name, it will give you the path to the app. So I know this because I've used this in Doppio many times. That's why I remember this. Otherwise, I would have to look in the Frappe code base FF assignment portal. See, we got the absolute path, and then from there we can uh, just refer to plus. Usually, this is not the right way. Right way is to from pathlib import path and then path neat library test.db. So this will give you the complete path. And now let's try to open it using SQLite. Import SQLite 3 and command A path SQLite 3 dot connect to the path. So I'm just checking if the connection is working. Connection dot exec. Oh, cursor connection cursor dot execute. Select start from test table. Cursor dot fetch all. Oh no, empty. Why is it empty? Okay. Maybe because I didn't commit. Probably. Probably. So let's copy this line. Connection dot commit. Oh no. Oh, see? It created a temporary file and then when we committed, it committed to the original database and now DB is changed. Nice. Now what I can do is I can exit and try the whole process again if I want to be sure. Nice, we have the data. Let's exit. I should copy this part because this is the actual path where the data set is. Cool. And pathlib import path import SQLite 3. Okay, this is test pset dot data set. Is it correct? Data set, correct. Now we can close this. Okay. So now we have the data set, the name, this, that, everything works. And now I can save it. Insert. Cool. So this we will have to do again and again, right? Because, okay, we'll see when we get to the second test case, we'll encapsulate it in some other function. But for now, it is fine. Now, what do we want to test? Right. Okay, we have to create a problem for this child table. So let's create a test problem. Test problem equal to frappe dot new doc. Or we can do this if you want to see a new way of doing this. Doc type SQL problem. We are creating this. So problem set has to be linked. Problem set will be test problems test pset dot name. Nice that we created it first. Problem statement is not correct query is mandatory. Okay, so let's give it the correct query. Okay, so the correct query that I want to test for column mismatch is select ID from test table. Nice. Now you can directly do dot insert and you will have your test problem. So these are two ways. This is also fine for creating a network. This is also fine. Your preference. Cool. So now we have the test problem. Now what I will do is test pset.append to, so appending to this child table here, problems. I want to append the problem test problem dot name. Nice. So now we have the test data setup. This was just to set up the test data, right? Now what? Let's try running this. So what I will do is I'll go to, since I have the test runner extension, I will go to my settings and I will change the site to lms.localhost. And now I can easily come here and say run nearest test. Thanks to Ankush. Okay, tests are not allowed. Let's allow tests. And try running the test again. Failed. Duplicate entry error. Problem set p set 0 is already there. Okay. Has no attribute starts with. Oh, got it. I think I know what is happening. Data test db path, because Frappe will try to do stuff, right? Test db path dot absolute. Let's try running it again. What if I call spelling? Okay, so it works. Oh, I think without the absolute also it could have worked. That is fine. But let it be absolute. What else? So this seems to work. But now we want to actually test, right? So let's create a solution, SQL problem solution. Test solution equal to frappe dot get doc type SQL problem solution. Student will be administrator, because that's the only user that will be there while the tests are running in a fresh CI environment. Let's see what all. SQL problem solution, not set, solution. Problem is mandatory, student is mandatory. Problem test problem dot name dot insert. Nice. So this will be the test solution. And once you insert, right, now is the time for essential. Now we have done the thing that we want to test. Now we want to test whether it was okay. Wait. So this has to have some query. Okay, let's give it an incorrect query, right? Select star from test table. This will give two columns, this will give one column, and then our column mismatch will happen. So we will now say self dot assert equal test solution dot status should be incorrect. Let's run the test. Okay. File not found. Yeah, file is pointing to the correct location. But I think Frappe has some other stuff to do. Where is this coming from? Oh, get DB cursor, get dataset path. Hmm. Okay, weird. Hmm. 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 Let's see how framework does it. We want to only see test.py files, and I want to find file. Hmm. So I think we have to create a file doc somehow. Okay. So we can try it in console. Path equal to this. path, input path. See, this is the path, and I want to create a new doc file, let's say, equal to f dot file name test.db dot file url equal to path dot save. URL must start with http colon slash slash or https. Okay, weird. Hmm. So I think it won't accept our normal. Hmm. Oh, what's the workaround? So I can change the implementation a bit. So let's read the code where it is getting this get dataset path. So it's doing get doc for the file URL and then calling get full path on it. Ah, this came back to bite us. We could have handled it without get doc and this could have worked because they can attach a remote a remote SQLite DB as well, right? We can do that too, but or we can create one on the fly. Let's see if we can do that. F dot. So what I will do is I will import this path equal to this. What am I thinking? F equal to this path lib f dot name equal to test dot db f dot content equal to open open want to open the path in read binary dot read f dot save f dot file name. Okay, file name is testdb. Save. Okay, it created a file. Let's see where it created it. Get full path. Okay, it created it inside the public directory. This works, right? So we on the fly created a file log and then we can attach it to um, our problem set. This works. So let's do that. Let's create the test DB. Let's do that. Frappe get doc type file name test DB content open test DB path dot read. We have to open it in read binary. Read the full content and dot insert file lock. We'll clean up, don't worry. I will clean it up afterwards. So file doc dot get full path. This will be data set path. Now this will be this. Okay, let's try running the tests. Okay, run nearest test. Failed. Even this file URL doesn't exist. Should I give it the file doc directly? Does that work? Let's try that. I have never tried it without peeking at the code. File object has no attribute starts with. Okay. Yeah, this works. Nice. So we on the fly had to create a file lock and then it placed it at the correct location. And now we'll be able to run, we were able to run our test against it. And the test passed. Nice. This is cool. This is cool. So we can create one more solution, the correct one. And this time we will say self.assert equal correct. And we'll say ID. Nice. So our test works. Nice. Okay. So let's encapsulate this logic in this all. So we can reuse it in another test. Now other tests will be faster once we have figured out the uh, setup. Setup. F setup. Self. So the setup runs before every test. Setup unit test Python. See, setup and tear down methods allow you to define that will execute it before and after each test method. So they are covering organizing test. Read about it, like you will find out. So we'll say self dot test problem set equal to, and move this all code of setting up except the solutions. We'll move it to here. And then at the end, we will test, attach it to the self so other test can refer it. Test pset self dot test problem equal to test problem. Nice. Oh, we should save this, by the way. Test pset dot save, because we appended it to child table, but we didn't save it to the DB. Okay, now setup will run automatically. We don't need SQLite 3 here because we are not directly working with the DB here. So this will become self dot test problem dot name. Oh, we didn't even need the test data set. Nice. Oh, we did because that's what contains the DB, right? Okay, let's try running the test again. Yeah, it works. Now see how succinct our test will become. Now we want to test the column mismatch, right? So we'll just copy this part, row mismatch. So what I will do is, this is Wait, even the problem has to change. Weird. Okay. So we will copy this part. Self.test preset. This part isn't required. This will become this. This will become this. Again, we can dry up the code. For now, I'll leave it at that. I will copy test problem. Yep, test problem. Okay, so this time I want to see row mismatch, right? So I will do this. Here I will limit 1. So we want 1 records. And the incorrect will be this. So this will be incorrect. Let's run the test. Nice, it worked. Now let's try another. The correct one. So if I run this as is, like, this is just the same test, right? But let's fix the query. Let's make it limit 1. Run it again. Failed, right? So it correct is not equal to incorrect. Nice. This is what TDD is. You make the test file like fail and then fix it. Then I'm not doing actual TDD right now, but usually it comes before the implementation. So in actual TDD flow, we would have gone and implemented it right now. But yeah, we tested the row mismatch. We can copy it again and again, but this calls for a good function. So what is changing? Correct query is changing and last submitted query is changing, right? So I will say def get problem with query self query will be star. It will return let's see what it will return later. Create problem with query. So this part. And this will be the query with correct query. Nice. So now this will become one line. Self dot create problem with query. Select ID from test table. This will be our problem. Mouse behaves sometimes. Test problem. Okay, nice. Similarly, now we can go to row mismatch and replace this with test problem equal to self dot create problem with query. Dry code, right? Don't repeat yourself. So we are just encapsulated the creation of the problem doc into its separate function. What else is repetitive? Create solution, right? So that can be also encapsulated. Create solution with query self query star, and we'll copy this part. What's the time? Oh, we just have 10 minutes. Let's make it fast. Okay, it also requires the problem. problem name. So this will be problem name. This will be the query. Okay, nice. So test solution will be self dot create solution. Create solution. Let's call it just create solution. It takes the problem name, will be test problem dot name, and the query. What was the query? Select star from test table limit 1. Again, this part can also be replaced. We'll cut this. Self dot create solution test problem dot name. Now see how much more our more readable our test is. We are creating a test problem, right, with this query, and then we are creating a solution with an incorrect query, this one, and it should be incorrect, and then we are creating a solution with a correct query, and this is again repeated, so we can say correct query equal to and incorrect query equal to right. Now we can say correct query, oh no, incorrect query, and this will be correct query. Nice. Now this is even more cleaner. So we are creating a test problem with the correct query and test solution with incorrect query and correct query. Nice. So we can refactor this as well. So test solution equal to self dot create solution test problem dot name, and query is this thing. We can delete this part. And this also becomes just self dot create solution test problem dot name. Nice. Nice. Hope you guys learned something. 6 minutes. So again, we can do the same formatting here. We can go even one more step further to dry it up and write a common test using an iteration. So correct is this one. This is also correct query. Then incorrect is this one. So at a glance, we can change the queries and see effect. Incorrect query. Nice. So let's now see how easy it will be to create a data mismatch. Um, what do you say? So I will first write the correct query. Correct query will be select. So data mismatch means the rows match and the columns match, but the data doesn't, right? So what can we do in this case? Hmm. 1 comma 2. I can do this. I can say max. No. Lower. I don't know lower works or not here. But yeah, something like that. Okay. 4 minutes are still there. Hey Sagar, how are you? So let's test query error instead, right? So test problem equal to self dot create problem with correct query. So this will be this test table, but the solution will have an incorrect query. Test solution self dot create solution for this problem, and I will say select last name. Instead of last name, it is better when you're writing test to do something like column that so does not, so it's not very magical. Clearly you can see what you are trying to test. That does not exist, right? From tab test table, right? And now what do we want to assert? Self dot assert equal, we want to assert that the solution dot status is incorrect. Let's run this test. Nice. So it is marked incorrect. And we could even test the messages, but it's fine. Let's do one more. So we have 2 minutes. Let's see how fast we can do. Test problem equal to self dot create problem with correct query. We can do anything here, but I will stick to my test table. Test problem equal test solution. Solution equal to self dot create solution for self dot test. No, not self. Test problem dot name and drop table, right? I want to test that they should not be able to drop a table. Let me move myself here. Drop table, test table. So self dot assert equal test solution dot status should mark it incorrect. And one more, okay, we can run it quickly, right? And if we want to see what is actually happening, we can add a breakpoint here and run this test. And I will see what's the feedback that was given on this problem. Attempt to write a read-only database. Okay, so I'll tell you what I'm trying to do here with the break. Self dot assert in A in B. Okay, so I want this in self solution dot feedback. So I'm checking whether the correct feedback was given. I can do this for other problems as well, but I think sufficiently tested now. Nice. Danger right query. and I will move drop table there. Danger right query. Nice. Again, we can improve it and I can run all the tests now. So if I keep my cursor pointer in the class, okay, something failed. Problem select. Test p set. Okay, wait. Def role tear down self frappe.db dot rollback. Create problem with correct query missing one positional argument query. Where is it? Oh, see, nice. Or we can do one thing, like we can, where we are inserting the p set, right? We can say ignore if duplicate equal to true. Nice. And now we don't have to do this. Much better. Let's run this and end the stream. Already 2 minutes above. All tests pass. Bye bye. See you.